Welcome to Breathe, a weekly audio podcast presented by Breath of Life. And now, here's the host, Pastor Debleaire Snell, and co-host David Person.
Welcome to Breathe. I'm David Person, the co-host of this podcast that is presented by the Breath of Life television ministry. And of course, the host is Speaker Director of Breath of Life and Senior Pastor of the Oakwood University Church, Pastor Debleaire Snell.
Come on.
What's up here?
This is our uniform for the day. Yeah, we doing our Get Unrealistic T-shirts, and just want to have a little uniformity. Kirk is out of order today.
Yeah, I'm all the way out, man.
He didn't get the memo.
He didn't get the memo today. He didn't check his email.
No.
But yeah, it's Monday. Yeah, and I love Mondays. It's Breathe Monday.
Breathe Monday, man.
I'm excited that this is Love Month. We're gonna make another deposit into those that are single, married, and just gonna have a lot of fun. Give some good instruction. We got some great guests today. I'm very excited about it.
We do.
And I'm gonna go ahead and let you introduce our guests and our subject matter.
All right.
Unless you want me to do it.
No, I got it.
Okay, all right. We got it. All right.
Here we go.
I don't want you tainted. By the sizzling
nature of our dialogue
today.
today.
Okay.
All right. So
We're in trouble now.
We've got, first of all, let's introduce our guests. We have with us Pastor and Doctor, I believe, right?
Yep.
You got a doctorate, right?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
That's fine.
Pastor and Dr. John Nixon and his wife, April. Welcome to Breathe. We're glad to have you with us.
Amen.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
You guys didn't send us any merch, so we just wore black.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Well,
You're still in better uniform than me, so
Listen, in appreciation for your appearance
Well, there you go,
on Breathe
there you go.
today, you will get some complimentary Breath of Life
like that.
merch.
We will
that
take
I
it.
enjoy.
Send a gift basket up there.
Come on.
So today's topic, how to keep it hot. Pastor Snell, I think you selected.
See, you just said you were going to shield me from this. You just threw me under the bus.
I just lured you in, man.
Yeah, well, listen, it's Love Month, and I think that there is this interesting perspective on marriage. Matter of fact, there's this joke that says marriage is like a hot bath. It's not so hot once you get used to it. Is what they say.
Okay.
And there is that, kind of growing belief that after a while, that marriage is destined to become dull, monotonous, boring, uninteresting. And, there's probably some good reason to believe that. There's some times where my wife and I will be out on a date and we just, at times we're not weird, but we people watch a little bit. And you can kind of tell who's married and who's not. Just demeanor, body language.
Yeah.
The married couple, they're just all into their food. The dating couples, they're
all into each other.
Yeah, they're all into each other. But we do believe that some of that is just bad practice. It's not just, an immovable inevitability. It's just some bad practice. And I think John and April, they modeled this in their marriage, and they've been able to kind of really give a lot of good, helpful insights to a lot of people for a long time. And that's why we want to have them come on and just kind of talk to us about what are some things, and let me just throw this in my first question.
Go right. Yeah.
Like, what are some of those things that you see as common practices, or even should I say mispractices, that kind of drive marriage to kind of a place of kind of where it becomes a little dull and monotonous, and we lose some of that engagement?
It's a good question. So it's funny because you were telling stories a second ago. One of the things that I tell people sometimes is I actually call April my perpetual girlfriend.
Okay.
And it's funny because when she was actually my girlfriend, she wanted to be my wife.
Okay.
But now that we're married, she actually wants me to treat her like my girlfriend.
Okay.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you can't let it basically fall into that place where you're watching Archie Bunker or whatever the old TV shows are, and they call her the old ball and chain.
Yeah.
It's like, this is a person that drags me down. I can't do nothing anymore because I'm married, that kind of thing. And in order to keep that from happening, I think, at least for men on my side, I think you have to keep pursuing your wife. Like literally act like she's still worth chasing.
Okay.
And that's what begins everything. It's like a mentality that you have that allows you to never get to the point where you settle, because I'm always still pursuing you. I'm always still chasing you. I always want more of you, that kind of thing. If you set that atmosphere, it actually makes a difference. And as the leader of the home, when you do it that way, a lot of times your spouse will actually reciprocate and start doing the same kind of thing. And it ends up being where it's just not boring. You know what I'm saying?
True. I think a lot of people don't think that this actually impacts the intimacy of a marriage, but the way that you treat each other on a daily basis.
Okay.
So how do you talk to each other?
Okay.
How do you respect each other? You know, are you speaking kindly to one another? You know, those are things. I mean, we've had situations in our marriage where John will, you know, and not trying to put you out there, babe.
Oh man, who cares? Everybody knows we do this all the time.
But you know, he might, you know, come home stressed and snap at me, and you know, it kind of would take me out of whatever mood I might have been in, and that's it. I'm done. I'm done.
Yeah.
Like it's hard to bring me back.
Yeah.
So I
Lord.
think we kind of ignore that
Yeah.
as something that can affect the relationship.
Sure.
You're saying later on when I try to push up.
Yeah.
Oh.
Exactly. Do you know how you talked to me earlier? Do you
Yeah.
realize what you said? How you snapped at me about that little thing, you know?
Yeah.
And I know for women, at least for me, and I would say anybody, I don't want to say men or women. I think whatever, you know,
Sure.
whoever you are as a person, it like for something like that to happen, that will immediately just, you know, totally squash my mood. If I was actually in a good mood or ready for something to happen,
Mercy.
you know, that's I'm done. And it's hard to come back from that day or in that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's some things that we see commonly though when couples come to us, right? Some common mispractices I think you asked about.
Yeah.
We would say sometimes you can get caught up in the whirlwind of life.
Okay.
And the more things you have going, the harder it is to keep your relationship sort of fresh and exciting and new.
Sure.
So those things are things we've all experienced. Having children,
Yeah. Yep.
stress at your job,
Yep.
any other big things that are happening, big projects, you know, moving, all kinds of stuff like that. Sometimes the whirlwind of those things just has it so that you're kind of just existing, just every day, just doing the stuff you do to keep the household running,
Yeah.
to make sure you have enough money to pay your mortgage, stuff like that. And you lose sight of the little things that make a relationship exciting and new and fun.
Right.
And so sometimes it's just literally just taking a step back, taking a break
Okay.
from the whirlwind of your life and saying, we're going to actually have a date night.
Being
we're gonna,
deliberate.
Being deliberate about it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Intentional.
people that don't do that, what they end up doing is just years, they just find themselves all of a sudden looking at their marriage saying, how did we get here?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's because it's years of just being caught up with all the stuff that's going on. So you
Yeah.
can't allow the circumstances of life to sort of steal your intimacy.
But at the
It's happening
same
to people all the time.
But at the same time, though, you know, I think I heard both of you talk about mood, which is really about one's emotional state. So how do you work through applying what you're talking about when emotionally you really are just not there? And how do you make the distinction between, I guess I'll say, faking it and really creating a new mood that is more conducive to what you're talking about?
Yeah.
I would say this. You know, we always talk about communication, but I think we've really been talking about being more transparent, more vulnerable. I think we're afraid to be vulnerable in our marriages because of the response we might get. And what happens is when you give yourself that, when you say to yourself, okay, I'm gonna actually say how I really feel right now. I'm gonna do it. You know, you muster up the courage to do it, and then you get a response that is negative or that is hurtful, then you don't want to do it again, right? So let's say I'm in a mood and I'm going to go ahead and be vulnerable here, and I'm going to say to my husband, you know, today I'm not having a great day. This is a really bad day for me, or I'm not in the mood to be happy right now. I mean, let's just say that's what you want to be in your feelings. And your spouse responds with, why you got to be like that? Or
Why you got to be like
oh,
that?
you're always in a mood. Okay. So that right there, you know, you're not going to feel comfortable with being honest
Anymore.
and being able to say, hey, you know what, today, for instance, like I said, the time that either of us might come home and snap, right? I think that and put ourselves, or we're in a mood, or we might snap and put our spouse in a different mood. I think it's better, which I don't think we do as human beings or as with, as spouses. We do not come home and say, as soon as we come in the door, hey babe, you kiss your spouse, and then you say, I really had a tough day. I'm just not in a good mood, and I want to stay right here for a minute.
Yeah.
Wow.
Put a little.
We don't do that.
Yeah.
Have you ever done that?
That's
we
that's not
don't-
okay.
That's
Usually.
not okay.
Yeah.
But I think if we gave ourselves the ability to do that, then and respond to our spouse in a way that allows them to be in that place, I think it's going to be a situation where you can come out of it faster.
I agree with you, and I
You know?
actually think we have more power than we realize to affect each other's moods. So there are times when I'm in a mood and I want to be in that mood. And the way that April listens to me and responds and sometimes validates my mood actually makes me feel better now that I'm not just in this by myself. I actually kind of sometimes want her to sort of not respond right so that we can have a back and forth, because I'm in a mood and I'm really wanting to argue with somebody.
I'm looking to argue.
I don't know if y'all like that, but that's
Yeah.
me.
Picking a
Yeah.
fight.
Yeah.
So sometimes that's what I want, but then when she doesn't do that, it actually surprises me. I feel validated and listened to, and actually I can't stay in the mood much longer. Wow. Now I'm like, man, this woman really sees me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we have the power to actually impact each other's moods in ways that I don't think we realize. And sometimes it's not even trying to get the other person out of it. It's not necessarily trying to change your mood. It's sometimes validating the reason why you're in that mood
In the first place.
And then
Wow.
a few minutes later, you feel good. You're ready to come out of it and consummate.
Wow.
Almost
Yeah.
giving you, almost giving you
Amen
permission
for
to
the
be
consummation, David.
that. Yes.
That's what you're looking for, Pastor.
Right. You're waiting on that.
Yeah.
But giving our spouses permission to be in that mood,
Yeah.
Okay. I like that.
you know?
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. So, we talk about it, and there are times where I kind of say to the church that, your marriage is going to reflect your habits. So that if you look, and it's not tingly kind of statement, but if you look at your habits, it kind of is going to tell you why you're in the mood or the feeling or the shape that you're in. Like, what are some habits, in terms of, for the sake of our company, what are some heat habits, you know what I'm saying, that that kind of add fuel to the fire, that kind of keep it interesting, engaging, where it has our desire for one another on the incline. What are some practices, the things that we can do on a day-to-day basis that just kind of add value to the marriage?
Heat habits.
Heat habits.
Habits.
Yo, I just listen. That was my
Yeah,
statement.
yeah, yeah.
I don't
You
want to
gotta coin that
see that on a
one. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
T-shirt.
You gotta coin that one.
Yeah. So get a copyright on it.
Heat habits.
That's been
Have
trademarked.
mercy.
Yeah.
Pastor Snell.
Yeah.
It's actually probably going to be a T-shirt. I wouldn't be surprised if they do that. So a couple of things I want to say. Okay, so I'm not sure how much of your audience is Christian. I would assume most of it, right?
Yeah.
I think most Christian couples have this particular issue, and that is shame.
Okay.
I think shame plays a significant role in the things that we're comfortable talking about,
Wow. Yeah.
trying,
Yeah.
the things that we are comfortable even thinking about.
Okay.
When it comes to, I would say, the bedroom,
Okay.
the consummation part of it, right? So let me back up for a second. We always say that sex is just a physical sign of a spiritual reality.
Okay.
So sex is physical oneness.
Mm-hmm.
And the spiritual reality is spiritual oneness, right? So when I am when we are at a high, spiritually one, kind of, I think that's when the physical oneness is better. And I actually think that there's a reciprocal relationship between the two, that sometimes the physical oneness is better because of the spiritual, and sometimes spiritualness is better because of the physical. They kind of feed into.
They feed each other.
Wow.
We believe they do. So part of your question sort of suggested that, as you said, what are the sort of everyday things you can do? Because you know what? It does go back to everyday stuff.
Sure.
Like April was talking about a second ago, how
The
we
way
talk
you
to each
treat
other,
each
how
other.
we're treating each other, whether or not we're emotionally connected. You know, all of those things actually impact the level of heat that you're going to have in the bedroom.
I'm gonna just give you an example. John gets irritated if we're about to walk out the door. We were about to go ride bikes one day, and I left my watch.
Apple Watch
Apple
that she
Watch
would need
that I would
to
need
take
to-
her.
to
right.
take the
So I was like,
gal-
"Oh,
yeah.
man, I forgot my watch.
If you
So
forgot the
I'm
watch,
running
did it
back
really
up the
happen?
stairs.
Right, exactly.
Right. So he gets all irritated. And
I'm irritated
and
because I'm
then-
ready to go. We've
and
been
then
we've been
we
talking about
start-
doing this for 30 minutes, and we're finally about to go. And she
Yeah.
said, "Oh man, I left my watch. I go back inside."
Lord,
So,
this
nah, man.
this
So
this
then
is
we
this
go
is
ride
this is
bikes
very
today for the
triggering
first 10
conversation,
minutes.
guys. This is a very triggering conversation. It's very triggering.
So the first 10 minutes of the ride, we're not even talking.
Right.
Because we usually talk to each other in our headphones, whatever. So one day, I come downstairs, I'm late, whatever. I have to go run and use the bathroom. He gets irritated when I have to do that usually. This time he says, "Okay, no problem." I was like, "What?" I go use the bathroom, I come back. He's like, "You ready? You need anything else?" And I'm sitting up here like, this is what's happening.
What's going on
here?
right now?
You know? So just because he responded like that, y'all, I hope it's okay to say this. I know you can edit this, but I mean, I literally got turned on.
Right.
Like,
Okay.
I was like, oh my goodness.
Wow.
When will I be able to show him that I
Nice.
felt so good
Yeah.
about? And
Nice.
that was just the spiritual feeding into the physical. Like,
That's
I
it.
wanted to physically show him, and I did hugged and kissed and all of that at that moment. Like, you didn't even get upset. Oh my goodness, that made me feel so good that because it really wasn't that deep. But normally he gets upset even if it's not that deep, that I'm late.
And so it just so happens that April is a words of affirmation person, and so for her, it's very hurtful when I get annoyed and huff and whatever,
Mercy.
even though it's probably not that big of a deal. That's something that bothers her. So the converse is also true. When I don't do that in a situation where I should normally do that, she feels loved in that situation. And she wants to demonstrate that love physically because it's a physical sign of a spiritual reality. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but how did
So-
you?
We
so the-
separate the two. We
But how-
actually separate that.
We do.
Yeah. Now, how did you feel though when she then expressed herself with the love and the kisses and so forth?
It's crazy, man, because as Pastor Snow would say, it's crazy, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy because what ended up happening was
He knows.
I felt-
Clearly, he knows.
Yeah. He'll shoot me a text
I've been
like
watching
right
a lot
after the
lately
sermon.
online, so
Post pandemic.
I'm probably
Our
gonna-
pastor.
Yeah.
We go to Oakwood University.
Mercy.
So what it actually did, it's crazy because she actually, in that response, I wasn't expecting that either. I didn't realize, because I wasn't trying to do that. I was trying to be less annoyed, more patient, all of that. But I wasn't doing it specifically to get a response.
Got you.
So when I got the response, I was like,
Oh.
wait a minute. Maybe I should do this more. Like, I was like, man, this is okay.
More of this.
I almost felt rewarded for my good action.
Yeah.
And I could tell by her mood that it was going to end even better for me later on that evening. And it did. So it kind of motivated me. I felt really good about it because it took me by surprise. Like I said, there is a normal kind of thing, right? I mean, there's this thing that happens. Like I said, you kind of just get into this kind of way of doing things with each other as husband and wife.
Yeah.
And you don't even realize it's like a regular cycle, you know? We're trying to get ready to go. I'm saying, hey, look what time it is. We got to be on time. She's saying, all right. Finally get her to be able to do it. And then there's one more thing that she's got to do before we go. And I go, It's the same cycle every time. So because it didn't follow.
Wow.
Sorry. So because it didn't
We're
follow
going
the
left,
same
guys.
exact motif,
Sir.
Yeah.
it kind of varied a little bit. And April felt so good about it that she responded that way. It ended up it's like it fed me too. And it ended up being this beautiful sort of moment of emotional connection that took us both by surprise. I'm saying those are little things that we can do that actually, what did you
Keep it
say?
hot.
Heat, what?
Yeah.
The
Heat habits.
Heat habits.
Heat it up.
Heat-
Heat habits.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
going
it.
to give
Habit.
another
That's
heat
it.
habit.
Okay,
Yeah.
Okay. Heat habit.
This
okay.
is a little bit more. Okay. So another heat habit, I think, is to be very specific about what you want in the bedroom.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Right,
I think I don't, and I'm going to go back to what John said earlier. It's because of shame that we don't do this.
Yes.
Okay. It's because of shame that we do not connect the spiritual with the physical.
Yes.
It's because of shame that we put the physical here when it comes to relationship topics, and then we put communication, conflict resolution, we put all that other stuff on the other side together.
In the spiritual category.
But we keep
In the godly character.
but we keep right. That's the godly part.
Right.
Godly
and then
part
the
over
part that we have no, it's the sinful part of us
Yeah.
is
The
over
phys-
here
the
because
phys-
we
the
don't
physical part.
we don't realize that God created sex, and people cringe. I mean, we go and we do workshops. Literally, grown people who've been in the church their whole lives cringe when we say God created sex.
Wow.
And I asked my 8th graders. I asked them, so guys, did you know God created sex? What?
Yeah.
I mean, they were
Mind blown.
Wow.
and
Eighth
that's
grade.
actually sad
That's
that
sad.
in our church
That's an old.
we don't know that.
Right.
We don't know that, and
Yeah.
so we don't act that way.
Whew. This may be the most supercharged episode of Breathe that we have ever had. The Nixons, John and April, Pastor John Nixon, Dr. John Nixon. Wow. This conversation got real, and I'm telling you, it's going to get even more real with part 2, because we're stopping it right now, let you digest it over the course of this week. And then next week, we're going to come with part 2 of our conversation with April and John Nixon. We're talking about love and sex and marriage, and they're not holding back, and neither are we. Neither is Pastor Snell or Pastor Nugent or myself, as we discuss this very important topic. And, all kidding aside, or all snickering aside, this is an important topic for the people of God. And for those of us who are in the church, whether you're married, and I would even argue if you are single, divorced, it's a conversation that's worth having. For those who may be contemplating marriage one day, it's a conversation worth listening to. So we hope you'll join us for part 2 of this conversation with the Nixons. That'll be on the next episode of Breathe. I'm David Person. God bless you. Don't forget, no matter how challenging it gets, whether you're married, single, divorced, whatever the case may be, no matter how challenging life gets, you can always stop what you're doing right where you are. You can pray, and then you can breathe.
Breathe is produced by David Person for Breath of Life. The opening theme was produced by David Person and James Bowman. James Bowman and Kelvin Wooten produced the closing theme. Special thanks to our broadcast partner, WJOU-FM Oakwood University Radio. Episodes of Breathe can be found on your favorite podcasting platforms. Please like them and share. Until next time, when life gets difficult, don't forget to breathe.